Oh, I made a
Thank you for joining us. I think we're just getting set up, giving a few more minutes for people to join, and then we'll get started.
we sure are. I realized, Helen, we could have used our lovely backgrounds, like the Forge
Oh,
Quest images. I completely
no,
I'm not used to setting my Zoom background.
me neither. I always forget that's a thing. And also, like, whenever my hair is curly, like, kind of cuts it out kind of weird, like the background.
I know the feeling, Helen. Like I
You
get
know,
the
kind
same.
of.
Yeah. Also, hi everyone. Yeah, we are just waiting
Hi,
for a few
everyone.
people to join. So in the meantime, we are just doing like some random chit chat. Like, feel free to join the chit chat as well if you feel like.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Even if this is a webinar, I think everyone can unmute themselves. That's the way we usually set it up. So if you want to, like start your video, say hi, and then go back to like a black screen, that's fine. But we also like seeing faces. So if you want to keep your video on, it would be great. Or even just say hi in the chat.
No pressure though.
Oh, yeah. Do I make it feel like there is pressure to do that? That's my side.
Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Uh, in, in,
I don't know if it's just me, but Mary, your voice is breaking up a bit.
video is dangerous. It breaks things, doesn't it? Just like that.
Okay, I'm thinking we might actually get started because we do have a finite amount of time that Katerina can join us for. So I'm just going to kick things off. So, um, bear with me one moment. Okay, sorry for the delay, everyone. So good morning and good afternoon for everyone who's joining us. Welcome to, and good evening, I should say. Welcome to today's special edition of Forge DevDen. My name's Mel and I'm a developer advocate from Atlassian, and I'll be one of your moderators today. So we're live streaming this session on YouTube as well as the Zoom meeting. So welcome to those joining us from YouTube. And yeah, on the Atlassian Developer YouTube channel, you'll find recordings from previous dev dens, as well as tons of other content like introductory videos, recordings from past app weeks, Atlas camps, and much more. So I'll get Ian to post the link in the chat to our YouTube channel if you're not already familiar with it. I'd also like to welcome everyone from the developer experience and marketing team who's here today. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here. And now before we get started, let's just go through some house rules. So to start with, unless you're asking or answering questions, please keep your microphones on mute while the presenters are presenting. Second, if you have questions, you can type them in the chat or ask them live during the Q&A session at the end. If you're joining us from YouTube, we'll be monitoring questions in the comments over there as well. Our session today is 40 minutes long. So in the event that we're not able to answer everyone's questions within the session today, we will be saving the questions and answering them on the developer community forums later on. I'll drop the link for the developer community forums into the chat now, just in case you're not familiar with them. And lastly, I just want to remind everyone that the session is being recorded and it will be available later on Atlassian Developers YouTube channel. So check the YouTube channel if you want to review something or you want to share it with a colleague or friend who wasn't able to make it. And so just confirming we are recording now and streaming, right, Ian? Yeah, great. Okay, so with the introduction and house rules done, I'm going to get started with my presentation where I'm going to share a little bit about Forge Quest, the hackathon, and Forge in general. Then I'll hand over to Katerina, who's going to share an example of the kind of problems that can be solved with Forge. And finally, we'll be available for Q&A to answer your Forge and Forge Quest hackathon questions. Okay. All right. Oh, I need to share my screen, don't I? Okay. Oh, I just realized. Sorry. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now, right?
Yep.
Okay, so before we talk about Forge Quest, let's do a quick refresher on Forge. So we'll cover what it is, why it's awesome, and what kind of things you can build with it. So Forge is Atlassian's serverless development platform. It's designed specifically for extending cloud products, and using Forge, it's quick and easy to build apps with just a little bit of code. This makes it really approachable, even if you don't think about yourself as a developer. And so why use Forge? Well, let's take a look at some of the benefits of building with Forge. I described Forge as Forge can be described as a serverless platform, and Forge apps run and store data in the Atlassian cloud. From an app builder perspective, that means you don't have to evaluate and manage infrastructure. You just get that straight out of the box. Forge was also built with security in mind from the very beginning. The Forge platform adheres to the best practices and security, including robust security measures like managed authentication, authorization, tenant isolation, and data management. So that allows you to focus on building your app rather than focusing on security. And finally, Forge empowers you to create highly customized apps with its extensible UI. So there are lots of ways to build and extend the product, creating new pages, dashboard items, or components to the issue view in Jira, or creating pages, feeds, and macros in Confluence, just to name a few. And you have the option to use our pre-built components designed to create your app view with the minimum of code using UIKit, Or if you prefer, you can create your own custom user interface for those who want more control by using custom UI. So by using Forge, you can focus more on building solutions and innovating and less on managing security, infrastructure, and scaling. So what kind of apps can you build with Forge? These are some of the, so there are countless apps you can build, but let's look at 3 broad categories of apps you might want to build. So the first category is integrations. You can use Forge to build a bridge or pipeline to a third-party app or product or platform into the Atlassian cloud product. So common integrations include building a connection between Jira Cloud and other enterprise software systems. And these are some of the most popular apps on the marketplace. Next, there are Forge apps that integrate directly into the product user interface. As a Jira or Confluence user, you'll know that there are lots of different screens and views. Forge provides the ability to smoothly and seamlessly integrate your app into many different screens and views of the product UI, including adding new sections and pages. Finally, there are also apps that enhance Jira's existing behaviors. You can build an app that adds custom validation to workflows. So maybe you want to enforce stricter work in progress limits on your boards, and you can do that with just a few lines of JavaScript. So if you're an administrator or work closely with one, then Forge can give you ways to customize workflows with code so you can build custom validators, conditions, and post functions. And by the way, Forge apps don't have to fall into a single bucket. You can have apps that combine multiple functions. Okay, so now I have told you a little bit about Forge. Let's talk a little bit about Forge Quest. So let's talk about where Forge Quest came from. So I'm not sure who on this call has been around the Atlassian ecosystem long enough to remember, but a long, long time ago, we had something called the Dragon Slayer Quest. And for me, that held a lot of nostalgia. I had to do it back when I started at Atlassian. And a lot of the ecosystem partners who've been around for a long time will frequently talk about doing the Dragon Slayer Quest when they first started in the ecosystem as well. So sadly, that was retired in 2020, although maybe not sadly because the problems that it solved were solved, which was awesome. But a while back, I realized that we didn't have a guided set of tutorials to help people get up and running with Forge. And so it inspired us to build something similar. And so Forge Quest was born. So Forge Quest is a set of tutorials and guides that let you level up from novice to expert. It's free to access, and at the moment, the novice and apprentice levels are available. So in the novice level, you learn about Forge, get your development environment set up, and build a simple app using the Forge CLI template. And in the apprentice level, you can build on what you've learned in the novice level, getting more familiar with Forge UI and APIs, and you can build more complex apps there as well. And that brings us to Forge Quest. So the Forge Quest tutorials and guides are available all the time, but this year we're doing something a bit extra. From May 20 to June 30, we're running a hackathon called the Bonus Level, where you can submit your project built with Forge Quest to earn special edition swag and badges. So whether you're new to Forge or ready to take your skills to the next level, you can complete guided challenges that walk you through solving practical problems using Atlassian's cloud development platform, Forge. Okay, so what's involved with taking part in Forge Quest, the bonus level? So to participate, there are 3 steps. First, you'll need to configure your development environment using the Forge Quest guide, then choose your level and build your app. So if you haven't done much programming before, Novice is probably a great fit for you. It'll take you through the basics of building step by step, and then create an app which is fairly low code. If you're a more experienced developer, you might feel confident enough to skip over the novice and go straight to the apprentice level for a more challenging tutorial. And finally, once you've built your app, you can submit your project at forgequest.devpost.com. So if you're not already registered, you can sign up now at the link above. Okay, so now I'm going to hand the virtual mic over to Katerina, who's going to share a demo of an app she created with Forge.
Yeah, can you just share again the link? Good.
Oh, it's in the
Helen
chat.
did that.
Helen
Yeah.
just shared it.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, because like I think we shared it earlier, but then there has been a bit of conversation in the chat. So I wanted to make sure we share the link to Forge Quest to participate, complete it, submit your app screenshots, I think, and that's how you receive the swag. Amazing. So it's there. So go to the Zoom chat to get the link and I'll start the screen share. So as Mel was telling us, there are many kind of apps that you can build with Forge. One of the most popular kind of apps that I've seen, and this is a bit off script, so surprise, it's actually the ability to build a validator. And like I'm thinking about workflow validator built on some custom field, and the custom field might not be strictly related to your Jira data. Imagine you have an external system with Forge. You can easily take the data from an external system, populate a custom field in Jira, and then use that data to build a validator, a custom validator in Jira. So like previously before Forge, like this was probably already possible, but it was like very tricky to set up. With Forge, it's super simple. So that's one of the most popular apps that I've seen recently. So I just wanted to bring it up. But the app I'm demoing today is how to do a bulk deletion using Forge. So what we are seeing on the screen is my Forge app. So this UI that you see is entirely a Forge app, and it's within the context of Jira. So you might even be wondering, like, oh, is this like a new feature that we have in Jira? Because it looks very much like the Jira UI, but it's not. It's a Forge app. So, and this is just a demonstration of like a few of the capabilities that you can build. Um, what we are seeing here is I'm in this UI, I'm loading the entire list of projects that are available in my site. And I'm also adding a few additional information like the number of issues that are available in that project and the information about the issue that was last updated in that project. So this is the last issue update time for that project. So if we take this project, for example, the issue that was last modified was modified around 7 days ago. So today it's the 28th of May, so it was modified on the 21st of May, 2025. The other thing that we have is it's the ability to set up some filters. So we have like a few projects. So here we probably want to narrow down our list. So let's say we only want to check for issues that for projects where the last issue was updated more than a month ago. So we go here and you see that my list has been restricted, as well as I have here a toggle to include projects with no issues or exclude them. If I change this, so this is what happens. So, and the powerful feature here is also that we have this option here where we can move our selected issues to trash. So I'm not deleting the projects right away. I'm doing the same that you would do in the UI. So I'm just sending them to trash. So let me maybe restrict this a bit more. So let's go to here. Let's just pick one project and I'll show you this in action and hopefully it will work. So let's move this project to trash. Is it working? Come on, it was working yesterday. I promise. Ah, there it is. It just took a bit. So yeah, you can see that it was deleted right now because now we see that the deletion schedule is in 60 days. So this is the usual trash. So nothing special, nothing fancy, like the usual thing that you would do when you would delete individual projects one by one. So they would end up in the trash UI in Jira. So this is exactly the same UI that you're used to, where you can go and check the projects that have been deleted. And from here, you can decide if you want to delete them now or restore them. So I think we are going to share actually, I can do it. So if you want to check out the code, we have it in this repository that is public to everyone. So feel free to go and check it out. I'll just open my IDE so you can see what's involved at a high level. And please, somebody confirm that the font is big enough. I think, yeah, maybe bigger. Ian, you're the one usually telling us if it's big enough. Okay, I saw your thumb up.
Looks good.
Cool. So what I wanted to show you is there is a bit of logic, but it's actually not that much. It's a few lines of code, but go and check it out. And at a high level, so what we are doing is we are using the Jira REST APIs to retrieve the project. So this is to display the entire list of projects. And then we are using the REST API project with the delete method to delete our projects, and we iterate over those. So with Forge, we are providing the UI, and the UI is actually available here. So you can recognize the headers that we were using in the table. And for retrieving the data, we are using the REST API in our get projects method, and for deleting them, we are using the REST APIs again. So I think that's all what I have. I'm happy to take questions if there are any live, or hand it back to Mel to continue.
Thank you, Katerina, so much for demoing your project. I think it's always really handy to be able to see like a real world application of Forge rather than just talking about like pie in the sky concepts. So thanks for that. Yeah, so do we have any questions for Katerina or for myself or for Helen about Forge Quest, the bonus level specifically? If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or just unmute your mic to ask. We've got a little bit of time available for that.
I've been kind of I've spent some time working on some on the basic Forge quest, and then something that was like a one of the tutorials. And we also got basically a Forge app from a vendor that recommended we sort of build our own version of the apps because it has we'd have more flexibility with API limits. Anyways, my question is do you have any best practices or any thoughts about Forge app ownership? Because for instance, recently we had a colleague who left the company, and he had certain, completely unrelated to Atlassian, he had certain automations that were associated with his accounts, and those automations stopped working once his account was disabled. So we would like to avoid that. And I think the concern is that we don't want to have an app that's on a like I'm looking at the developer uh, console for myself, and I can see all the statistics for my app and whatever. But if I ever leave this company, um, the company will have to do a bunch of work to like get into that account's password or reset the Atlassian password to get into it or whatever. And so we're sort of thinking about like service accounts or something like that. And then I know that there's also the ability to collaborate and have contributors. Is there an ability to give a contributor like full access over other accounts? Or sorry, over apps?
Katarina,
You
did
want
you
me
want
to take
answer
it?
that one?
Yeah.
Yes, because you kind of already did answer it in the chat, but go for it.
Yes, so Darren, hi, nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining. I'm always happy to see familiar faces and new faces. Yes, contributors. So to answer your first question in terms of ownership, yes, I would go with a service account. So you can avoid like exactly the issues that you were talking about. As well as have a look at the link I shared in the chat. So you want to set up contributors. Most likely you want yourself to be an admin of the app, so that you have full control, you can deploy, you can upgrade it. This is I have to drop in 2 minutes, so I can't go too much in details into this. I hope like this is enough to get you started. Otherwise, you know where to come and ask for help, and that's our community. And maybe we can post the link again, Mel. And one more info that I wanted to share as well. If you have one app that is already associated with a user and you want to transfer the ownership of the app to a different user, so let's say you created it and you want to transfer it to the service account, that's not a self-service operation, but we have a support. We have a support portal where you can raise this request. And
Actually,
I'm going to, yeah.
I actually see that there is now an app ownership change owner button
Oh,
in
okay. So
the console. You guys already implemented it.
New features, yay.
and
I
you
mean,
know
yeah.
more than we do.
Yeah, I think as I
I
was
love this.
halfway through asking my question, I was like, oh wait, they have the contributor section. Yeah, yeah. So that's the right way. Cool.
Yeah, so that didn't exist, I guess, a few months ago. So these are like
Wow.
rolling out new features to make all of these things a lot easier for our developers, our app
That's
administrators.
cool.
So you don't have
Yeah.
to ticket to transfer your app over when you're leaving a company.
Actually,
Yeah.
this is because I was just talking with my colleague about like, oh, I don't like that it's in my account. And I was like ready to like go and redeploy it, and we got it all working and stuff. And then it's like, oh, all right, now yeah, so we could just transfer the ownership. That's good.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's answered your question. Thank you so much, Katarina, for joining us. Okay. Do we have any other questions in here? No. Okay, we do have some questions over on YouTube. So I'm going to read them out and then we'll see who can answer them. Okay, so Z has said Forge has very complicated project templates and choices with Forge Create. It gets overwhelming, e.g., an app that fetches info from an external API and populates Jira custom fields. If you can walk through how do we select the right template for our use case, where a custom field is populated on a Jira task with data from an external API call. I can answer that, or Ian, you can answer that.
Yep. Sure. Well,
for the first part regarding the creation of custom field, so there's an existing template for that one. Either you can select custom field or custom field type. So I think that answered the first part. For the second part, currently there's no existing template to do some external API calls. But what you can do is to use a fetch client. So I'm just gonna paste it on the chat, both on Zoom and on YouTube, and then we have some sample code snippets on how to use it.
Yeah, and so the other thing is if you have a look at Forge Quest, specifically the documentation, in the apprentice level tutorial, there's a tutorial that lets you create a Jira dashboard gadget, and that Jira dashboard gadget actually pulls data from a external API. So if you want to go through a tutorial with example of how to call an external API and then use that data within your app, that might be a good place to start as well. Does that sound right, Ian?
Yep.
Sweet. But yeah, and then again, if you get stuck with anything along that process, that's why we have the developer community forums. So you can go to the Forge Rookies area in the developer community forums to ask questions around like getting started with Forge. If you need help with specific cases like that. You can also ask them in just the regular categories on the developer community forums. But if you feel like they're more of a question, like a beginner level question, it's always good to ask in the rookies area because the developer experience team, so that's our team, monitor that area for questions. And we have no judgment. We don't think there are questions that are too simple. And, you know, the more questions you ask, the more likely we are to be able to build out answers and sample apps and documentation around those things too. Okay. No worries. So are there any more questions? Does anyone have any questions about Forge Quest at all? I'm so surprised no one's actually asked us what the swag is. I don't know if we're allowed to say.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask that, Mel. To keep, yeah.
Helen, is it a
Unfortunately, I cannot
surprise?
participate, but I'm really keen on getting this limited edition swag. Is there a teaser or Helen on
Yeah,
what we can
Me too.
divulge?
I so
yes,
desperately want.
yes, our team is actually working on the final design for it, but we have a limited edition t-shirt for those who actually complete and submit their projects. It is limited. So the quicker that you can submit your project, the better chance you have of actually snagging one of these t-shirts. Yeah, it's while supplies last. So we're excited to see everyone sporting them as we do all of our different developer events, as you guys go to community events. Definitely kind of a way to show off your skills and a very nice reward. We also have some really nice badges that you'll be able to receive through the developer community as well. So as you complete each level, you'll get a special badge for each one. So we have one for the novice level. You'll want to go to the thread that I added here in the chat and just upload a video. I'm sorry, not a video, a screenshot of your completed app to receive that novice badge. And you'll do the same thing with the apprentice level as well. Once you complete that, you'll get a special badge. And yes, and I know Mel has some additional levels that she's working on. So even though we currently have the novice and apprentice, there's definitely more challenges coming down the pipeline. So stick around, and yeah, we're excited to see how you guys enjoy the challenge. And if there are any questions at any point, definitely reach out to the team on the developer community. Everyone's very excited to dig in and help answer any questions that you guys might have.
Helen, will the shirts be different for novice versus intermediate, or versus apprentice, I should say?
They'll be the same, actually.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And yeah, so also while you're creating the while you're going through the challenge, if there is like a tutorial that you want to see that covers a specific topic that's not covered by one of the existing ones, I would really love to hear about it. So like you can add a comment on the developer community forums, or I think there's a chance to send feedback in when you fill out your when you fill out your submission on DevPost. So feel free to leave me some feedback there as well. Okay, are there any more questions? We've got like a couple more minutes left, so we probably have time for one more.
No questions from YouTube, Mel?
No questions left on YouTube. We already answered them.
Yep.
So, okay, well, I guess that's all the questions that we've been asked today. I will just reiterate that the Forge Quest, the bonus level, ends on June 30th, right, Helen?
Correct.
And so that means you need to get your submissions in before that to be eligible to win some swag. But yeah, the Forge Quest content is live all the time. So if you do not have time to finish the competition and get swag before then, you will still have the ability to go through and go through the content and also earn badges after that date. Thanks
Sweet.
everyone so much for your time. Thank you, Helen and Ian, and also Katerina, for assisting today. And yeah, as I mentioned, this will be up on YouTube later on. And if you are joining us from YouTube, we do have an Atlassian developers group over on Atlassian community. So if you want to hear about events in the future with more notice, you can sign up on the Atlassian community under Atlassian developers to hear about future dev dens there as well. Okay, thanks everyone.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day.